Hello, and thank you for listening to this episode of the Billy Newman Photo Podcast. My name is Billy Newman. I'm here today with Marina Hansen. We are talking about a couple of the pictures that are going up on Instagram at Billy Newman. You can check out Marina at Marina Rose Alice. And we had, a few of them going up in the last couple of days. You've done some photo stuff too.
I have, yeah. I went on a little trip recently to a wildlife refuge nearby.
I
It
think
was
that was
pretty
cool.
rainy, but it
Yeah.
was fun. It was nice just being out, having my camera, taking some pictures.
Yeah.
It's hard to find stuff to take photos of during this time of year in the valley. Everything's pretty gray, pretty muddy,
It's so
pretty
muddy.
wet,
It's been
pretty
really wet
monotoned.
too. Well, yeah, we had talked about that a little bit, how the flood had, or well, not flood, but there's been consistent rainfall for seems like almost a few weeks in a way. But there's been at least enough heavy rain or enough inches accumulated that the water level has come up quite a bit. A lot of the ditches are full. A lot of these flat, low-lying areas and open fields have turned into really big puddles that are having a hard time draining out. So it's kind of like mild flooding, but we are really seeing a good bit of water moving through the Willamette Valley right now. And you probably saw a bit of that while you were out at the wildlife refuge too.
Yeah, I definitely did. There are a lot of like small ponds out there, and those were
Yeah.
all huge.
The area
They're
is already kind
very
of like a
overfilled.
wetland.
It is,
So it must
yeah.
be a little lower. It must be like an area where water would naturally tend to gather, and especially like this when we have a long period of a lot of rain, all the collective square footage around that would drain into that area
Yeah, it really
must lift
built
that
up.
water level so fast, or must change it, really, since it's already a wetland. That
Yeah.
that
It,
the rising tide of that's just going to come up pretty quick. And I've seen it where it comes up into the road or up over the road in some spots.
yeah, that's how it was when I was there the other day. It was there's I think it's Muddy Creek is one of the little creeks that goes through there, or Muddy River. Um,
I've seen it.
and the little bridge that or one of the bridges at one of the entrances that you can go through, the water from that little river was almost going over the top of it. It was really full.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and there's a gravel part of the road, or a pretty long stretch. I guess most of it is, but there's a real long stretch just before the entrance that's a long gravel road, and the whole I guess right hand lane for the direction I was driving. That whole side of the road was just covered in water, and all of the side of the road was filled up with
Yeah, I've
water.
seen that a few times in areas like that. I remember even in the springtime, there would be the field that would be the next door property to that road that you're talking about that
Right.
goes into the wildlife refuge. And even in the summertime or springtime, like late April, that would be filled with water still on the side.
Yeah.
It seemed like it would only take another inch or two to be lapped up over the side of the road. I thought that was kind of kind of a strange way that was set up, but I remember that area would fill up with water pretty quickly. It's interesting to hear what you're talking about. Well, we saw like that area where the goats were when we drove by that area after you met me later for lunch, and that area still has a lot of water that won't drain out of it.
Right. Yeah, there are a lot of spots that seem to have just really held on to the water.
Yeah.
There are a lot of properties that seem to have little moats around them
Ooh,
almost.
little notes.
I
Yeah, I
saw a
saw that one on
few.
the drive where it was kind of sinking down toward the house and the foundation.
Uh,
It freaked me out so much
that
about
would
a house
freak
like
me
that.
out
Like,
too.
oh, there's
That'd
a
be
big
pretty
swamp
sad.
around my house. I'd be trying to like pump that water back out or something. I
Yeah,
don't know what you would do.
I'd be worried about my house getting
Yeah,
messed up.
no worries for these guys, I guess. But yeah, it was kind of cool. We had a couple photos I wanted to talk about. I guess the first photo was maybe to remind me of better times of weather here in the Willamette Valley right now in late February. It's kind of bleak, it seems sometimes. Or there's a lot of rain, a lot of mud, but it's getting a little bit warmer. Sans today where it snowed a little bit when it's almost March. But this photograph was taken that we're going to talk about first in, I think, like late April, maybe of what, 2014 or so? I might give it that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think it was around that time. And I think this was on a drive up to Corvallis that we were making from Eugene to Corvallis. And there was this really cool, uh, like storm cell that was passing over the Willamette Valley. We could see, and it looked like it was up further north of us toward, I guess, toward Corvallis and Albany up in that section. And it's strange in the Willamette Valley because it's open enough and it's enough miles. It's a smaller kind of contained area, but it's wide enough and open enough that you can look out a number of miles and see a different piece of weather further away from you that you're not really experiencing. But I remember you could look out and you could see this like sort of storm system out there, and we drove closer to it. And this is as we got closer to it, you could see underneath it there's a lot of, or there's a good bit of rain that was falling out of this system. And with the sunlight coming in across it, there was a rainbow that kind of connected the storm cell to the ground below it. And there was enough sunlight and stuff from the surrounding atmosphere to kind of illuminate the grass and the trees and the clouds underneath as we were driving to Corvallis that evening. But this was a cool photo. I like this one.
I like this one a lot. I think it looks like a really pretty scene. The grass looks so green and full.
It does look full. Yeah, it was one of those the full lush look of that nice growing period in April and spring when it seems like everything's really new and really fresh. It definitely was that time of year, which was pretty cool. I remember, well, yeah, I really liked this, and this is definitely in a phase of the photos I was trying to make very surreal, or kind of layer in more surreal elements to it that seem like something that you don't often see or experience. That was what I was going for a bit in it. So things are pushed in some ways, but it also was the intention to kind of capture it in a way that would feel a little bit more surreal or dreamlike, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I like that a lot. I think that's a good representation of how things look sometimes too.
Oh, I do too.
I mean, with
yeah.
lighting, you can get some really surreal, dreamy, beautiful
I think
looking
that's
moments, and
yeah,
sometimes you do have to push it a little bit in your editing to make it look like it did in real life.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
really like this photo. I like the soft, pretty look that it has to it, but it also has like I guess the blacks in it look really nice.
Oh
So the
yeah,
colors are really bold, but they're not overly saturated or anything.
yeah. I think as I look at it, I think I tried to desaturate the green in the lawn a little bit or make it
Hmm.
a little bit darker. And I know actually maybe I didn't, and I think it's just vignetting that goes around the whole image, and the effect of the vignetting on the grass is a little bit of a I guess desaturation
Hmm.
and limiting of the exposure. And up at the top, you see in the clouds, it was probably pushed out in the original version of the photograph to a much more bright white look in the exposure. And I probably tried intentionally to use the vignette tool to bring down or bring out the contrast and pull out the darks in the cloud and bring out some of that structure in the cloud of the storm cell above it. So it's kind of made it look a little bit dark on the top and on the bottom too. But I like this one. There's another one I think that was in a series close to this one that I thought was pretty cool too. Maybe it was from like the same drive. I'm not sure,
Hmm.
but I should probably post that one. See how that one fits together. Maybe that's what I should do with that new Instagram tool.
Oh
See
yeah,
that one that came out?
the swiping to the side.
Yeah, we've seen it for a little while we've been going through and seeing the sponsored posts. You know, as we go through and we look at what is it? Every 10 posts now on Instagram is a sponsored post. Have you seen that?
Oh, I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, really?
Are you sure it's for everyone?
Yeah, no, it's been like that for a long time. That many of the pieces of content that you're seeing in Instagram are going to be sponsored pieces, like they're advertisements. Or it's for some other type of thing. But I think it's been going in around every 10 or 20 pieces, or every 10 or 20 things on Instagram is some kind of advertisement piece. It's normally actually pretty well related to us or our type of things. So a lot of times you're still just going to see some outdoor brand content,
Yeah.
or sometimes you still see razors or file your taxes here. But for a long time, their advertising product, their professional product, had the ability where you could swipe left, and get some more photos or get some more content or go to a link was sometimes what it was.
Oh, I've seen that. The ones that lead you to a link.
Yeah, and I think that there's a handful of professional content, or there's a professional Instagram account now. There's a personal Instagram account. There's all sorts of things. Instagram's expanded a ton, but the new feature, which is cool, is that now we can finally do that for all accounts, where we can set up a slideshow of a few pictures to put together. I was thinking of trying to put together like a stack of different galleries, or not galleries, but like what we were talking about
Like a
this one.
small portfolio of location, maybe.
Yeah, of a location or of a time maybe something like that,
Sure.
or
Or yeah, whatever
of rainbows.
category.
I
Yeah,
could do something like that, like do abstractions of the category.
that'd be cool.
Yeah, so here's my top 5 rainbow photos. I'll probably
I'd
do
swipe
it.
through that.
I think I'm gonna do it both though, because I think, see, like if you think about it, you're gonna limit the amount of exposure that each of those posts have,
That's what I
especially
was thinking.
unless the algorithm that the Instagram's now using has some way of lifting that content up to make it more important in the algorithm. But it's gonna just be one piece of content instead of maybe the 6 photographs you could have posted with hashtags. So it seems like it's gonna have to be something better, maybe, or I don't know. I don't know how it'll work. Maybe it'll just be another way to kind of have content listed. Hey, that's Robert calling.
Hey.
I'll call him back in a few. But yeah, so we had just a couple other photos to talk about. I think the other image that we had outside of this one was a photograph of Dave. That's the other one that I posted, I think on Instagram, maybe yesterday. I'm
Yeah,
not
I
sure.
think so.
Pretty recently, though. But yeah, it's an old photo of Dave that we took on that eclipse trip in 2012, the one that we did down in Northern California when we saw that annular eclipse.
Right.
Which was really cool. But on the drive back, we made a few stops. This one was on State Line Road. It's this cool road along a wetland that's like sort of southeast of Klamath Falls, Oregon. But as you go along this road, it's a real straight road that's a division along the state line between this wetland area to your south and then to the north. And I think we took a handful of photos over there when we pulled over kind of during a sunset. But I took this picture of Dave that I always thought was cool, this real low angle. And we kind of pretended he sort of threw his arm out like he was a hitchhiker. And we took it, but the lighting for it was perfect, which made the photo cool. We kind of tried to set it up so that it looked neat. But I remember we did a handful of those. It was kind of fun. So I was like that picture. I put it up, but it was a cool little character photo.
I like that one. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I liked that trip. I liked that about that trip. We did a few different
yeah.
photos like that with our friends that were there.
Yeah, I
That was
remember that
really
being a
cool.
great time. That was really cool. I had a good time doing that trip. We should get some stuff together for this next eclipse coming up.
Yeah, this August. We
Oh
gotta
man,
get something set up. It's gonna come up fast.
it probably is. Yeah, it seems like a long time now, but it's gonna be so fun to see. I'm really excited. This is a total eclipse too, a little different than the annular where it was still bright out, but we could see the eclipse happen and we can see the ring around. This one, it's gonna be a little different because the position of the moon is a little different, and we're gonna see a total eclipse where it blocks out everything.
It's gonna be so cool.
It's gonna be so cool and so dark. Ooh.
Yeah, August 21st.
August 21st. We're gonna have to be prepped for it, Marina.
Oh yeah,
We're
I'm
gonna
really
be
excited.
Eclipse
to do
pros,
some
though.
fun stuff.
I think we're gonna be the best. It's gonna be so fun. But yeah, we gotta get everything set up for that one. That would
Yeah.
be cool. So the last photo was a photograph. I guess it's kind of a different concept too. Yeah, this one was another image. We took this in the high desert of Eastern California. I guess near the entrance, like that western entrance of Death Valley, even though Death Valley is probably a long way from this spot. But I think this was in an area of the Alabama hills
Yeah,
near the Sierra Nevadas. And I'm pretty sure it was taken after the sun had set behind the Sierra Nevadas. But what was really cool was the way that the sun was reflecting this really bright copper color in the clouds above, all across the sky. It was really cool how that was set up. But this really bright copper color up in the clouds above kind of reflected onto the sand with the sandstone that it would be out there, but on the sand and sandstone and sort of this tan landscape. And so you had this really bright, warm, sort of gold tone or rust colored tone that was bouncing between the sky that was dark but still well lit from the sun and illuminated into this bright copper color, and the ground that was also this kind of copper color. So kind of matched those two sort of color schemes up in this photograph. But it's this really interesting kind of, not jagged rock, but it's sort of a lumpy kind of pieced together rock made out of sandstone that sort of comes up to a point, and then the surrounding sky that is this copper purple color. That was kind of a fun photo. I liked that trip.
I liked that trip so much. That was a really cool spot.
Yeah,
Very interesting landscape.
it was such a
for
cool spot.
photos.
I like that area of the Alabama hills a lot. That was a really fun time.
Me too.
In fact, I really want to go back out there. I want
I
to try and
do
go
very
there,
much.
and I want to try and go to Joshua Tree.
I'd love to go to Joshua Tree.
I guess
Yeah, I
it's,
haven't been there. I think it's supposed to be kind of similar looking
yeah,
landscape.
that's a bit of what I'd understood, and I think that's one of the other national parks that we hadn't hit. But we
Yeah.
should go to that one and then do a few of the ones left in Utah that we'd not gone to.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There's probably a few things within Arizona that would be interesting, or that
I'm sure.
Southwest Utah, Arizona section would be pretty interesting.
I think so.
I think it'd be
We
pretty
gotta
cool.
make our plans.
Ooh, we gotta make so many plans. We gotta do the eclipse. We gotta do national park trips. Gotta do a bunch of photo trips. Yeah, we got a ton to do. So, yeah, I think that's all the 3 photos I had to talk about. But yeah, thanks a lot for doing this little podcast with me, Marina.
Thanks so much for having me on your show, Billy.
I appreciate you recording these little podcasts in the studio, and I want to thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So yeah, on behalf of Marina Hansen, my name is Billy Newman, and thank you very much, guys, for listening to this episode 82 of the Billy Newman Photo Podcast.